Hello, my fellow Americans. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. It's just unbelievable. In the 21st century, here we are, 2014, and we've got more problems today than we did 40, 50, 100 years ago. We seem to have less common sense. We're repeating the mistakes of the past. It's like we're on a ship without a course being plotted. They're talking about no debt ceiling. Well, why don't they just take a page from George Clinton of Parliament Funkadelic? Just tear the roof off the sucker. I mean, really? No debt ceiling? Just keep spending? I mean, what is the plan? Where are we headed with this massive debt? What are we trying to accomplish? You've got to ask that question. What's the answer? I didn't hear it from Obama. I don't hear it coming out of Congress. What's the answer? I mean, what is going on? I mean, he talked about hope and change, but what was the vision? What's the real vision? What's it going to look like? Paint me a picture. Show me a plan. Obamacare is probably the biggest debacle in the history of this country for a government program. I mean, healthcare is like 1/6 of the economy. We had the best healthcare system in the world. Granted, there was about 15% of the people who couldn't afford it, but you know what? That's just the way it is. Not everybody can afford everything. And it doesn't make sense to tear down those who are great in the business world. I mean, if you think about it, actors and actresses, they get awards. We applaud them. We read about them in People and Us and all those other style magazines. We look up to them. But what did they really do? I mean, sports stars, basketball, football, baseball, ice hockey, NASCAR, auto racing. I mean, bobsledding, figure skate. We look up to these people, but really, what did they do? I mean, these people, for the most part, are just entertainers. But when you look at a Bill Gates, somebody that created something, that created lots of jobs, you want to tear him down because he's a billionaire? It doesn't make any sense. Or somebody that's maybe a multi-millionaire because they had a business, they were successful, like Walmart. You want to tear them down? Oh, well, they exploit. They exploit. People who work at Walmart work there on their own free will. Nobody's got a gun to their head saying you got to work at Walmart. I don't see anybody there in an orange jumpsuit with chains on having to work at Walmart. Obviously, people are willing to work for that wage. You might counter and say, well, that's because they can't find any other jobs. Well, why can't they? Well, they'll say, well, the jobs don't exist. They don't? Why are there so many classified ads in the newspaper or on the internet? Oh, those people aren't skilled enough for those jobs. I see. See, it gets back to personal responsibility. I know you guys probably think, Rumpledone, he's just some old guy. He's, you know, saying the same thing over and over. He's probably losing it. But the reality is, you got to take a look in the mirror if you want to solve the problem. Your problem. It's not Walmart's fault. If you are valuable enough, then instead of being the Walmart person that makes the minimum wage, you might be a manager there, or a district supervisor, or whatever they have. You'd be up the food chain at Walmart, making a decent salary. I mean, it's that simple. You know, I've said it before if you watch my videos, the problem isn't jobs. The problem is you have to create a demand for your product or service. In other words, you're your own corporation. You Inc., you Corp. If you're not in demand, then you're not going to get hired. Whether you get hired for a job or you have a business or service and nobody comes or calls. Nobody comes to your store. Nobody calls you on the phone to hire you, to partake of your service or your goods. See, that's what it's all about. It's that simple. But the point is that we've got our leaders, our government, who aren't leading by example. I mean, if Obamacare was so good, they wouldn't exempt themselves from it. We all know that. And all those other laws. But the point is that we the people really have to wake up this election cycle, and we need to throw them all out. Let them know that we're not happy with the way they're taking this country. We need to elect people who have a plan, who have a vision, who say, you know what, if we do this, then this is what's going to happen. And if we don't do this, these are the consequences. Because just raising the debt ceiling is just insanity. Just insanity. Somebody knows a little bit more about this than you and I, and they're not saying. Somebody in the government knows why this is happening, and they're not saying. You see, the government likes to think of us as little children that need to be protected. There are many things that they know are happening, but they don't want to tell us because they don't want us to panic. They don't want us to fear. But the thing is, that knowledge could be the difference between our individual life or death. But they don't care about that. That's something else that we the people need to wake up and realize. Because many times there are things that are going on with the environment the government doesn't tell us about because they don't want to scare us. They're protecting us. So they say. So you see, Obama wanted hope and change. Well, I hope we change it back, or I hope we change it to something else, because I really don't like this channel. Do you? And in the meantime, my fellow Americans, wake up. Smell the tyranny.